When you are aligned with your path, it just everything you need is provided. So I trust that we're going to be taken care of.
You know, data is data, and sometimes you just need to disconnect and tune into your body and mind and do what feels right.
Welcome to the Yogi Triathlete Podcast, the YTP episode 001. Coming to you from Newport, Rhode Island. It's actually a beautiful day here. And what do we do? What are we even doing here? Well, that's the question we're going to ponder episode after episode after episode. But essentially, the vision for this podcast is to connect you with people who are looking, finding, and living their purpose. And that starts right here at the Yogi Triathlete Nerve Center, which is the combination of my husband and soul partner, BJ, and myself, Jess. And we are risk takers, and those are the people we want to bring on this show. We want to help inspire you to make those changes that you dream about but don't think are possible. These people that we're going to bring you are out-of-the-box thinkers. They're athletes and parents and yogis and people starting businesses, and they're sorting through the chaos of their busy lives and minds to live their highest expression one breath at a time. We know what it feels like to go against the grain of society, and we want to bring numbers of those people together to you so that you can be inspired to follow your dreams and those things that you love, because I'm telling you right now, you don't love something by happenstance. You love it because you're supposed to love it. And it's a gift that you have to share with the world. And it requires you to break patterns of norm. And it requires you to stand strong in the face of fear. And like I said, that starts with us here at Yogi Triathlete. We have some huge news to share with you today. And the first person I'm bringing on the podcast is probably going to be the host at some points. And it's my soul partner, BJ, our head triathlete and coach here at Yogi Triathlete. So welcome, BJ.
Hey everyone, it's BJ, and it's super cool to be here for the first Yogi Triathlete podcast. Thank you, Jess, for the introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome. We just, we're good now. We had some, it was all set up to do this, waiting all day for you to come home from your long workout. And then we went to record and it wasn't recording as I hit some buttons. So anyway, it looks like we've got some teeth on the grid. So
we're
I think
all
we're
good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So I just got back from my morning workout.
Well, why don't we start with, just tell us what you did today.
So we started with a master swim group Saturday mornings, which meets at 7 a.m. and goes to about 8:15. And it's been a group that has grown here on the island for about a year now under my guidance. And it's been extremely rewarding watching my swimmers grow. You know, some of them just learning to swim, others taking it up a notch. And I also jump in every now and then to swim with them, which is fun. So this morning we had about 10 people in the pool, and it's always good to see new faces. There were 2 new faces today. Some old friends had come into the pool, which was great to see. And the workout, what I give on Saturdays are options for a regular, traditional interval workout, or I give them 2 by 1,000 sets. So the first 1,000, they'll swim pretty easy. It's an alternating between 100 easy and 100 moderate through that 1,000-yard set. And then the second 1,000 yards, they'll use paddles for the same thing.
Do you find that people, like, to me, I'd be like, what 100 am I on? Like, do people lose count, or do they just not tell you?
I'm assuming they don't tell me.
How do you keep, I don't understand how you keep count. Like, I lose count on 100, let alone 10 100.
I actually get that question a lot from the swimmers, so they must be losing
Yeah, they
count.
are. I hear the talk in the locker room.
I count 50s. I go by 50s. Every 50. If it's 1,000, it's going to be, 20 50s.
That's true, because if you're going up the end of the pool, then it's like you got to be on the start of a 50.
Right.
Like, you can't be anywhere
There's
else.
no other place to be.
This is the secret. I've been with you for almost 20 years, and this is the secret.
We cracked it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So anyway, that was the swim this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually struggled a little bit myself.
Yeah.
So I had the mind come in and wanted to give up when I started that first 500. But through the meditation that I've been working so hard at, I was able to pull myself out of it and continue on with the swim and came out the other side. And it feels so good. It feels so good when you're challenged and you come out the other side.
What is it about meditation that you work so hard at?
I think it's quieting the mind. I think it's letting thoughts come in, letting thoughts go out, and being the observer of what's going on.
That's the working so hard.
I believe for me it is, maybe different for you, but for me, I need to let the thoughts come in and out.
Yeah. Not
really.
Yeah, it's not about stopping them.
Control. No, not at all.
No, it's not. It's never about stopping them. It's just about being able to watch them. But over time, they start to slow, and then you have more gaps in between the thoughts. And that space in between the thoughts is that space is your entryway into our true nature, and that's the space you want to be racing and training from. I mean, that's the premise of what we hope for all of our athletes to be doing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I took so much away from just that little swim today.
Yeah, so much to take away.
And then I met up with my buddy Lorenzo, who's here from Italy.
The Italian stallion.
Who is a powerhouse in the pool.
I swam circles with him today. I did. And then I used his extra large Italian paddles, which were awesome. They were too big for me, but as I'm massaging my shoulder right now, I went after it. I did some 25s and went after it. But yeah, he is a brick house.
On the bike too.
Yeah, for sure.
But his challenge has been the run. And so we've gotten together and been doing about 3 or 4 weeks now of some really good run training, and it seems to be paying off. Mm-hmm. So we went out to Statuest Wildlife Refuge here in Newport, where there's this 2.5 mile dirt road loop that we've been running on,
which is about the extent of the trail. I mean, there's another trail here on the island, but I mean, if you're a trail runner, don't move to Aquidneck Island.
It's not going to happen.
Your trail running career will end terribly quickly.
Not many options. So this is our only option, so we decided to do 6 to 7 laps around the same loop, seeing the same people.
That's good. That's mental training right there, you know?
That's exactly what it is. And so we've been hitting some really good tempo paces, and it's been looking really good. He's training for Ironman Frankfurt, and I have Ironman Lake Placid in July. So they're not too far off. His is July 3rd, mine's July 24th. So we're pretty even.
Yeah. You guys you're pretty much in like a bromance. Is that what they're still calling it?
It might be a bromance.
I think so. Yeah, Lorenzo's a cool dude. He was actually, he came into our lives through my massage practice when I was a massage therapist. And I remember being so fired up because I was like, I've got a real live triathlete. But there's amazing athletes on this island. But yeah, that's how we met Lorenzo. And I remember telling you about him being a cool dude. And now he's your bro buddy.
Bro buddy.
He's your bro buddy.
Yeah, we pushing each other, and it's
yeah, because you guys have a similar goal, right?
We do. We're both trying to get to Kona. Mm-hmm. As challenging as that is, and it just continues to be as people get more fit and faster.
But you're getting more fit and faster.
But we're getting more fit and faster.
So watch out, 40 to 45.
I think Lorenzo's 30.
Well, I'm talking about you right now.
All right, so me, 40 to 44 is watch out.
Yeah, 40 to 44 is Lake Placid this year.
So that was my morning, and then raced back here and had my smoothie bowl, which I was dreaming about for that last hour of the run.
So good.
So good. And it's super simple. Super simple. Lorenzo was asking me what was in it, and it takes less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, we've got that one. We've got that one on yogitriathlete.com. It's our recovery smoothie bowl with pineapple and spinach. It would be just under the plant power section of our site, but it's super good. And then we put toppings on it, and it's awesome. But yeah, so that's your training, and then we're gonna go and teach yoga later. But what else is going on? Like, what you did something big this week? You want to share that?
So again, I've reduced my workload.
Well, not really.
When I work career,
Yeah,
I guess you could
you
say.
reduced your financial security
Yes.
in a significant way.
Yes.
That's what you did.
I took the first step about 2 months ago, quit my full-time corporate position that I had been working with for almost or over 20 years. Nice, comfortable position in a successful company here on the island, and quit that to move and work with a plant-based bar company. And then again this week, I just reduced the hours there so I could focus more on this message that we're trying to convey with Yogi Triathlete. So yeah, some big things are happening. Well, what's going on with you, Jess, in your life?
Well, I'm just glad to have you on board, because when you quit your job at Newport Harbor Corporation, I thought, oh, thank God, I've got you on board now to help me out, do all the social marketing and all that stuff. And then you took another full-time job with Amarita Bars. Those are the bars that BJ was talking about. They're awesome. We'll put a link up in the show notes about that. Oh, I feel like such a podcaster saying, we'll put a link up in the show notes as soon as I figure out how to put up the show notes. And I thought that I would have you on board, and I didn't. And Yogi Triathlete just continues to grow and have so much momentum. And I found myself being buried. And what I saw within you was very similar behavior patterns. And what we came together as a couple and realized was that it was the full-time job. It wasn't the company you were working for. It was working a full-time job that was not in alignment with what we're supposed to do right now. So the way that we've been living is, and I mean, I've been living this way for most of my life, is it's not so much of making a pro and con list. It's really tuning into that intuitive voice inside, which meditation has brought us so much deeper into connection with, and making decisions on if they are aligned or not. And what we find is when we make decisions based on any kind of fear, like, okay, take this other full-time job so we can have a steady paycheck coming in, it wasn't in alignment with what you were supposed to do. And although we love Amarita Bars and we're so psyched to be connected with them and using their bars for Ironman training, it had nothing to do with them. It was just a full-time job was not in alignment. And so we were getting resistance. And meanwhile, Yogi Triathletes just has so much momentum, and our community is growing, and we want to tend to her as she needs. So I really, of course, encourage you always to take the leap, because I'm a jumper. I've always been a jumper. But then my struggle, not struggle, but my work comes in letting you know that you are supported in whatever you do, and then just stepping away. And for me, it's those moments of wanting to give you all these ideas to try and control the outcome of what's going to happen. And in those moments, if it's appropriate, I'll sit in a meditation. And if I don't have a meditation at my hands, like if I'm driving the car, I'll just take a breath and get back to what's happening in the moment, which is that I'm trying to control something. So you took a leap, and it's great. And so now the weekly paycheck is not coming in, but I've never, it's just nothing has ever felt so right. And I truly believe that the universe conspires to support you when you're on. It doesn't even have to conspire to support you. That when you are aligned with your path, it's just everything you need is provided. So I trust that we're going to be taken care of. And that doesn't mean that we're going to be driving a Lamborghini, and not that I would ever try a Lamborghini. It's so not my jam. But it doesn't mean that it won't be without struggle or whatever. I don't know what's coming. But the only thing that matters is right now, like sitting here and like I get to look into your eyes and talk to you. And that is what matters to me, is that you're here with me. And this is what feels so aligned. And the reason why you had to take that big jump, and here's the big news that's coming, is that we are in the process, and this is no surprise for anybody who follows Yogi Triathlete, that we have been simplifying our lives now for, God, I don't even know. I mean, it's been years and years and years that we've been doing this, and there's been some really potent moments in my life where I've seen us hit a new level of simplification. And but most recently, what we are doing is we are in the process of getting rid of everything we own, pretty much, with the exception of we both get a carry-on suitcase, We get our transition bags for triathlon. We get our bicycles, and then I was thinking we'll take one backpack if you want to put a book, or like our friend Emma gave us the beautiful handcrafted vase from their friends in England. I want to take that, but that's it. And of course our trigger point therapy gear that will go in too. But we're not talking about a Hummer. We are talking about a Honda Fit. So we'll see. But I think that's pretty reasonable. And then Clark, the dog. So we're pretty much getting rid of everything we own except for the absolute basics. And what we are doing is we are hitting the road. We put our house on the market, but even prior to putting our house on the market, in a time where I was starting to like freak out a little bit, our house sold before it even hit the market. And so that to me was just a confirmation that this is what we were supposed to do. And we are hitting the road. We are first going to stop in Lake Placid through the end of July, where you're going to be racing Ironman. And we've actually got an event coming up in Lake Placid. We can talk about that afterwards. Let's not forget to drop that in. And then from there, our plan is to go to Watkins Glen, New York, and spend time at Farm Sanctuary. And I would like to, well, I think we both would, now that you're free, to volunteer at the farm. And also as a yoga instructor, I would like to offer yoga and meditation to the volunteers. And then my experience with massage therapy, and particularly with animal massage, to, if they would allow me, to work on some of the animals there with energy work and actually hands-on therapeutic body work. So that could be amazing. This is what we're feeling is going to happen. And then from there, we will be heading down south in our Honda Fit with our carry-on suitcases. And we've mapped out a pretty general route right now to go through the states that have the highest rates of heart disease and obesity, and be in service of as many people as we possibly can along the way. So stopping in towns, and not for like 4 hours, but for a couple days, maybe a week. I don't know what it's all gonna look like in the end, but offering free talks on healthy living. Come out at 5 o'clock, let's go for a walk, let's go for a run. Get people moving, get people understanding that living a vibrant life is their right, and that there's always higher levels of health that they can reach, and it doesn't have to break the bank. So going into their local store, buying food, and preparing a meal from that food, and showing them that what they can create, which can be beautiful for their bodies and for their lives. And then also offering self-care. There's a lot of, I know from my experience as a massage therapist, people are living in chronic pain. So what can they do to alleviate their own pain? And free yoga, did I already say that? Mindfulness and meditation. I mean, basically everything that we have to offer, we're going to be offering. We're going to just be an open resource for everyone that comes along our path on this journey. And we'll head all along south, and we'll be contacting some people that we know and some people that we don't know, actually, that we want to reach out to and see if we can connect with them. We'll be podcasting, which is really was so instrumental in the birth of this podcast, was connecting you guys with these people that we come in contact with along the way, and eventually landing in California. We don't know when, maybe 6 months. It could be a year. I have no idea how long we're going to be on the road. I feel like it's going to be at least 6 months. Landing in California, we believe Southern California. And but going up through California, and I believe stopping in Bend, Oregon to see our friend Julia Hanlon from the Running on Om podcast. Hi, Julia. Huge inspiration for us starting, and just such a wonderful soul sister. We love her so much. If you haven't checked out her podcast, she's doing so amazing. She's got some big, awesome, beautiful people on her podcast. And so we highly recommend that. That's Running on Om. And then head back down south, and wherever the car stops is where we're going to land. Wherever we feel in alignment. It's not going to be a pro and con list. It's going to be a decision that comes from our hearts. And the absolute end point of the dream of this journey is to live in a tiny home. where the simplification will really come in handy. And we've been wanting to live in a tiny home since when? Like, I think you're the one that discovered them. I want to give you that credit. Is that
probably
when we lived in Boulder?
When we lived in Boulder, yeah, I was looking online a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Small options.
You were taking a lot of naps. No, I'm only kidding. You were taking a lot of naps, though.
I did. Well, I was training a lot.
We take a lot of naps.
Naps are key.
You just took a nap.
I just did.
Naps are key. We can do a whole podcast on napping. But I would say we've been looking at the tiny house movement for, 10 years? Probably 10 years. Before people even really knew what tiny houses were, when there was just like those few pioneers. And that's an instrumental, potent moment in my life is when you brought that to me, because that was something I was really interested in. And then another moment that I can remember, I always think about this one, is sitting in my office in Boulder and opening up our credit card bill. And this was after the financial crash of 2009, when everybody had to start getting a little bit more responsible, right? Like everybody had to be.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched the movie The Big Short, is that what it's called?
The Big Short, yeah.
Yeah.
How quickly we forget.
Yeah, that's a crazy movie. Really well done. Christian Bale's in it, and we love him. There's a lot of other awesome people in there too.
Steve Carell.
Oh yeah, Steve Carell. He's such a good actor. He's what's his name in The Office? Come on, BJ.
Michael Scott.
Yeah, Michael Scott. He's so Michael Scott, but he's such an unbelievably talented actor. But anyway, so after, it was like 2009, it had to have been right around then, and I opened up our credit card bill, and it was probably around like $15,000, which I think is probably pretty common for a lot of people, and they may even have more debt than that or less. It doesn't matter. But I remember looking at it, and it said, if you pay $364 every month, you'll have this card paid off in 3 years. And I thought, well, I can do that. And then I realized that I had been paying $500 a month on that card for like 10 years. And then I could never, ever get it down under $10,000, because there would be something that we needed, or, the car would have to be fixed, or at this point, up until then, it was I would ache. Like when the Pottery Barn catalog would come to our house, I would ache. Like I would look at things, and it was like the best novel ever written. I would go through it, and I would like tick off the pages of the things that I loved the most, and then I would go back through, and then I would give myself like weeks, sometimes even a month, and the things that I ached for the most at the end of the month, I would say, oh, well, that's what you should get. And a lot of times, well, most of the time, if not all the time, I charged those. So I was really responsible for all that debt, if you didn't already know that, honey. And that was a moment in my life where I realized I don't want any of this. I don't want to pay this card off in 3 years. I don't ever want a credit card again. None of this stuff that I've charged has made me any happier. It's left me in a boatload of debt. And at the time, I was still really suffering in my life, just unhappy. This was pre-meditation, and a lot of transformation going on in my life at that point. But I just didn't want to live like that anymore. And it felt so far away to be debt-free. It felt impossible to be debt-free, but there was a little voice inside of me, that intuitive voice, it's always been there. It's always been strong for me, no matter what I have been caught up in the material world. And I heard that voice, and I listened to it, and I knew that it was possible. So that was a potent moment. And then another potent moment, I want to hear yours, is about a year and a half ago, I was in a session with our teacher, our meditation teacher, and he said, I can put my whole life in a carry-on suitcase. And I thought, I want that. That's what I want. That's what I want. Like, that's what I desire now. And now I'm living it out. So I mean, from that point of seeing that credit card bill, or you bringing the tiny house, to now has been, it's been many years, but it's doing something little every single day to start the momentum towards living your dreams. And that's what Yogi Triathlete is about. And that's what this podcast is about. And that is what the Ride the High Vibe tour is about, which is what we're about to embark on. So we've been telling people about it. And I want to, I want to get, I know we've kind of been reporting back on the reactions that we've been getting and stuff like that. But what were your potent moments, or how are you feeling about it, or now that you're free, or even when you weren't, how's this all going down for you?
So yeah, I think that's a good point where you had that pivotal moment where you wanted to put everything in a suitcase. Whereas I'm looking at that as you were saying that, and I'm thinking there's so many instances in the recent past where our belief is always to try and do the minimal thing. So what I mean by that is, as I train with little technology. Mm-hmm. When we race, we have one bike. We each have one triathlon bike. We don't have multiple bikes. Yeah. We have one pair of goggles. We have one bathing suit. I think our lives have just moved towards that way where we're trying to do as much as possible with as little as possible. And I think this is a nice challenge for us. How can we reduce even more to pack it into a 200 square foot tiny home?
Oh,
I think
wait.
that might be the max volume after watching Tiny House Builders or Tiny
House Hunters.
Tiny House Hunters. But feedback I've been getting a lot is I could never do that. I could never give away this, or I could not give away that. There's something that they're tied to. And I think that the touching point is the photographs, and we've mentioned getting rid of photographs, which are so your heart is just so tied to them. And if you think about it, why are you tied to these photos? Because it's a visual representation of where things have been in the past. They're not now, they're not in the future, they're in the past. That's my take on it.
Yeah, and they're usually happy memories. Like you don't have a picture framed in the living room like when you had the flu and like you had diarrhea. You know what I mean? Like
right.
So
they're happy memories.
They're happy memories. So they bring you
joy.
What we think that they bring us joy. But in actuality, those moments don't exist anymore. As soon as they're done, as soon as that camera took the picture, that moment vanished into nothingness. So the pictures, some people are going to listen to this and they're going to be like, okay, I'm never listening to this again. These people are insane. We are not on drugs at all. I'm drinking tea. That this is, I understand that this is very much against what we are conditioned to believe as we grow up, and we love our families and we love the people in those pictures. But those pictures are nothing more than anchors to what doesn't exist anymore. They're anchors to the past. And that doesn't mean that having pictures are wrong. There's actually a couple of pictures that I think we're going to take with us, because what they also are moments in your life which made you who you are today. And that's all life is. It's just a series of moments. So it's not wrong to have pictures. It's, could you live without the picture? Like, what would be the pain that you would have to experience to not have that picture anymore? Would it be guilt? Would it be sadness? What is the emotional attachment that you have to that? And if everything is energy, and this is probably the first of 1 billion times that people will hear me say this, if everything is energy, then your energy is invested in that photograph. And when that photograph goes away, you get that energy back. And I think that we're going to need a lot of energy for this trip, because we're going to be sharing so much. And I want as much as I can.
I do too. I didn't mean to go off on the tangent
no, I love the
photos.
I like the photo tangent.
I think it's also about the physical things, the couch, my high school basketball jerseys.
Yeah.
That I've had since high school, so 20 years ago. And have I worn them since? I think I have 4 of them, and I wore one for Halloween. Because I was a basketball player.
You wore them when you would ride the bike downstairs.
Did I?
Oh God, a lot.
Okay, so maybe I did use them, but in the most recent past, I did not use them, and they're gone now. I gave them away, and that was something that I'd always held on to, and I just never would look at it. Like, they were just in my closet and there for so long and just taking up space. So that's one thing I was able to just.
But why did you hang on to them so long?
Just to remember that I played basketball in high school.
Right. Because why?
I don't know.
Because wasn't that an important part?
It was an important time, but I feel like I've come so far. I am not the same person I was when I was in high school.
No, you're not.
I'm by far not that same person. So I didn't feel any more attachment to him. And I don't know when that switch flipped.
Yes, that's what it was. But you were attached to him before.
I was definitely attached to him. As other things too, a deflated basketball I was attached to. And that we got rid of about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I always wondered why we had a deflated basketball, because you were attached to it.
I was attached to it.
Because that was like a part of your identity.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that reminds me of when I would work with a lot of men in my massage practice. I would work because I created myself this nice little reputation of being a very strong massage therapist, and I think I did that at the beginning to prove myself. I thought that's what you needed to work on athletes, and I've completely come full circle with that myself. But I would work with these guys, and they would come in, and for the most part, they would be, married, kids, full-time job. They had bellies, they had tightness in their necks, and they were, had gotten out of shape. But they would lay on the table and they would talk about how they were so fit in high school and how they didn't understand how they got here. And it was that attachment to them thinking, like, I think there was part of them that still thought that when they looked in the mirror, they were that high school captain of the football team. And instead they were, on medication. Some of them were on heart medication, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, like I said, like big bellies, out of shape, and in pain. And that attachment is painful. But that reminds me of that because I had that a lot. Like, I used to be, a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't know how I got this way, but the difference between being 16 years old and 44 years old, there's a lot that happens in between. And we have to be willing to always move on. Don't you think?
Yeah, and not hang on to the past, man.
Yeah.
Move on.
See, I feel like my past is easy to get rid of because I was such a nightmare for so long. But that's a whole other podcast in and of itself.
I like where we are now. Like this is a good space that we're in every single moment of every single day in the present moment, and just the education that I'm actually receiving just from being in this moment, that I've been able to use to build myself up, become stronger, more conscious, more in the moment.
It's a much easier way to live. So I used to want to control everything. I mean, I was a master manipulator. I could get anybody to do anything I wanted. I got everything I wanted. I mean, if I had a list when I was 16 years old, I got it all. And this house that we're sitting in right now, this is the house I dreamed of since I was a little girl. I mean, it's an adorable little Victorian cottage. I don't think I ever wanted a mansion or anything like that. But I've got this beautiful house and these beautiful things. And the thing is that it never changed me. I was growing outside of it, not because of it. And now it's time to move on. And I remember I've got this amazing woman who has read my cards several times now. And I had a reading with her about 5 years ago. If anybody wants her information, you can send us an email. Actually, I can put her link in the show notes. Let's not forget that, Maria. And it was like 5 years ago. And she said to me, in 5 years, you're not even going to recognize your life. And she said, you're going to become detached from your home and you're gonna sell it. And I thought, are you crazy? I'm never gonna sell this house. This is my dream home. I love this house. And at the time I was just doing massage. I wasn't a yoga instructor yet. And she said, you're gonna be traveling across the country and you're gonna be speaking to a lot of people. And I couldn't even begin to imagine what the heck I thought, am I gonna be talking about massage? Like, I don't even know what that looks like. But that's what she told me. And so now here we sit. Our house is sold. And we're going to be going across the country talking to a lot of people. And I love it. It couldn't feel better. And there's been so many moments, becoming a yoga instructor, letting go of my massage practice over the years, where I've said to you, right? Oh my God, how many times have you heard me say this? Like, it'd be so easy just to stay in my comfort zone. It'd be so easy. I could have 25 clients a week. I could have, I was making close to $100 an hour from my massage clients, sometimes more than that. And I could have stayed there. I could have banked the money, but it started to slowly fall off. And I never like to get to a point where I feel burnt out, because I think this is like that innate overachiever in me, because especially when you're working with people as intimately as massage. Actually, it doesn't even matter if you're working for anybody, even if you do, especially if you don't like the job that you're working at. Those people deserve 110% of you. They really do. Like, and if you can't be present, if you can't be there 100%, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, if life is just a series of moments and we only have this one right now, it's our only guarantee of our continued existence is this moment right now. Like, what are you waiting around for? And so with massage, it just started to naturally fall away. But that required me to take risks to become a yoga teacher, which is so funny, because I always say that was the hardest thing. The first year of being a yoga teacher was the hardest thing I have ever experienced in my life, because I brought my ego into it. Because you're damn right, I was going to be the best yoga teacher ever, and just like I was going to be the best massage therapist ever. All this like overcompensation, because deep down inside I felt unworthy, whatever. But I learned and I let go. And but in order to jump, you have to let go, and in order to let go, you have to feel it. Absolutely. And you probably see that a lot, like with your athletes getting attached to times and things like that.
Lately, I've been seeing my athletes going into the future and wanting to know what they're doing today is going to give them X tomorrow. And it's been a great challenge for me to work with them on figuring out that it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. Like, back to our now moment. This is the workout right now. Just get through this workout.
Do the work. Like, do the work right now.
Do it now, and then the rest will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. Versus being caught up in saying, I'm going to swim 3,000 yards and that's going to give me X time come race day. And it's been a challenge, and I think a lot of athletes get into that mindset, and I think a lot of it stems from what they read online, what they don't know. Maybe they're new to the sport, and also, people are tied to their data. And data is important, and then we'll get into a podcast about that, but data is data. And sometimes you just need to disconnect and tune into your body and mind and do what feels right. So, that's how it's been with my athletes. It's been a great process, and I'm continuing to coach triathletes and runners. So anybody out there interested in running or triathlon coaching?
The Yogi Triathlete
Triathlete.
What I love about the way that you coach, BJ, because you coach me, you've been coaching me for a couple years now. First of all, I've never done an Ironman or even a half Ironman without a coach, because I'm the kind of person that I don't think I've done anything without a coach. I think I've done all 11 years of being in triathlon with a coach, because I'm the kind of person that's like, I just want to look at what I have to do. I don't want to have to think about it. I've got other things to do. I would rather spend my time meditating than reading articles online about triathlon. I mean, I love triathlon, believe me, and I have a ton of experience in it, but that's your job. and I'd rather just leave it up to you. So, but one of the things that I love about the way you coach and what I see how you work with your athletes, as opposed to experiences that I've had with other coaches or whatever, is that you don't just tell them to let go. Like, you don't just tell them like, oh, you know, it's just rest, just let go. You know, if you want to go running, just don't go running, let go. And then leaving them to sit there with those emotions or that feeling that, you know, they're about to jump out of their skin. What you do is you tell them how, you give them tips. And that's so amazing, because I think a lot of, and I'm not a sports psychologist, okay? But what little things that I've picked up over the years, it's like, well, just block it out. And that's not what we do. And that's definitely not the Yogi Triathlete way. Like, this idea of tapping into your inner badass, you want to tap into your inner badass, you got to feel it. And a master, a true master, is the same in pleasure and pain. And it's finding that neutrality of being okay with whatever it is that's coming your way. Whether you're, like, for example, 2014 when I did Ironman Lake Placid in a severe thunder and lightning downpours, crazy, going down that steep descent into Keene. And I remember just completely surrendering. I was freezing cold, just shivering, and thinking about a couple of lines from the Bhagavad Gita, which is an unbelievable book from Indian spirituality on the great battle of man and the mind, and just being okay with that, even though, to look at it from a human standpoint, I was really in an uncomfortable state, pretty extreme. And just kept moving from moment to moment to moment to moment. And then I ended up killing it and PRing and running my fastest marathon I've ever run at that race. So that's just such a cool experience to have in my pocket. But the thing I love about how you coach is that you don't just tell them to do something, you tell them how.
I think that's what athletes are searching for, even if they're not knowing or aware of it. Mm-hmm. They're so wrapped up in the moment of getting this workout done, and they have to continue to do it when sometimes they just need to step back and figure out, you know, do I need to recover today? Do I need to take a few days off? And what can I do during those times? Mm-hmm. So I feel like I've been able to help them understand that process a little bit more.
But I think that's also like super important to have a coach, because there was times when we were training for Ironman Cozumel last year where I remember like I was like I don't even know what cycling shorts to wear, and you just looked at me and you were like, okay, you're done, 3 days off. Like, I just had major decision fatigue. Do you remember? Or I think I came back from a workout and I was downstairs and I was just like standing by the washer and dryer, and I was like, I'm so confused. And you just took it away. You just said, okay, you're taking 3 days off. Like, no swimming, no biking, no running, do yoga, do whatever you want, do nothing. And I think you did that to me a couple of times, and it's so important for you to be able to drop in and see that from above, what they need, because I think from your practice as being a yogi, you can see between the lines a lot more than most people. And from your experience being a triathlete for, what is this, your 13th year as being a triathlete?
I think it's my 12th year.
12th year.
Yeah.
And just having someone tell you, like, go ahead and rest, and clearing out your training schedule so you don't sit there for 12 hours in a sea of guilt thinking about the workout that you didn't do. Because, I mean, we have so much to talk about.
We have so much to talk about, because that came from my experiences. I'm an overachiever, as are most triathletes.
Right.
And you want to get those workouts in. Sometimes you want to get the numbers in. You want to say, hey, guess what? I ran 50 miles this week. Even if you ran 49 and that one last mile, you went out the next day and did a lap around the neighborhood to get 50. What does that mean? It's just a number. And so you need that outside perspective to say it's just a number. It doesn't matter. What matters is what happens in your consistent consistent training.
Yeah.
And you can't consistently train if you're injured. Biggest key.
Yeah, you can't do anything if you're injured. It's how many times like if I've had to cut my run short, like if it was supposed to be 45 minutes and I went like 42 minutes, I will think about, I'll have this debate in my mind, which I just can sit back and watch now. It's just so ridiculous. This debate in my mind of, should I go the extra 2 minutes, or should I just lie in my training log? Because I can't fathom putting in that odd number into my training log. It's crazy. And this is what we're up against. And we're up against it so greatly when we're talking about living our dreams. So that's what we're up to, the Ride the High Vibe tour. There's going to be more information coming on that. And we've got a couple events coming up. You want to touch upon those really quick?
We've got the nutrition workshop at Rhode Island Power Yoga coming up on May 15th from 12 to 2.
Yep.
We're going to talk about plant-based nutrition, sort of the where things are now, how we got to the place we are now in our food, with the food in our lives. We're going to talk about Jessica's going to cook up a recipe for everyone, and I think it's a good start to understanding the impact of plant-based nutrition on the environment and the earth, and how we can make a difference, and how you can feel in performance and just in everyday life by making conscious decisions about what goes in your mouth.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't care if you come to that workshop and you're like coming from the drive-through. Like, we don't care if you're chewing a Big Mac on the way in. We're going to meet you where you're at, because this is not, like I always say, it's not an intervention, it's just information. And we are there to show you the information, which is that everyone can benefit from eating more plant-based whole foods. Hands down, I don't care what scientific study you bring, everyone can benefit from eating more vegetables and fruit and whole foods from Mother Nature. Regardless of what else you consume, it will be to your benefit. So everybody is welcome to that. And then we've got our training retreat in Lake Placid, June 14th. Nope.
June 16th through the 19th.
June 14th is the day that we move up there. And we will have a bed to sleep in for a week, and then we'll be living in a tent for a while. But anyway, that's June 16th to the 19th. And my piece of it is going to be, I'll be bringing in the yogi of the Yogi Triathlete. We'll be doing guided meditation. We'll be doing yoga every day, asana practice. And that's going to vary from power flow to yoga nidra, which is my new super favorite yoga practice for athletes, because it's unbelievably restorative. Like 30 minutes of yoga nidra is equivalent to like 3 to 4 hours of quality sleep. I mean, this is amazing stuff. And we'll be hosting one group plant power dinner at our place. And then what are you going to do with them?
So I'm going to give them some insight into the Lake Placid, Ironman Lake Placid course, which is just one of our favorite locations of all Ironman in Lake Placid, New York. It's such a cute little town, and the vibe there before and after Ironman is just amazing. So we're going to be able to spend probably the end of June and all of July up in Lake Placid training. And this camp is actually we're going to train on the course. So we'll be on the bike course. We'll do 1 or 2 laps and whatever the group level the group is. We're going to swim in the lake almost every single day. It's a crystal clear lake. It's called Mirror Lake, and there's a cable that runs under the water by the buoys, and you don't even have to sight. You just follow the cable.
It's such a, especially if you're somebody who has any kind of anxiety about the swim, this would be such a great retreat. We're not calling it a camp, we're calling it a retreat, because you're going to leave there not feeling beat up. You're going to leave there like full of life and inspiration and energy. We've got options for the whole package. Like, we're keeping it super affordable too. I think the top package is $399, which is ridiculously inexpensive for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we've got a one sport, like if you're just a runner, you want to come up and take part in the running, and then all the yoga and the mindfulness and the meal. Or you can just come up and go full on yogi with me. And I'm going to be doing some support on the course. I'm not training for Ironman this year, but there also might be some time if you do just come up for the yoga to spend some time with me, maybe go for a hike or something like that. So we're just keeping the all channels open always. That's going to be amazing. And we'll put links for that stuff up in the show notes. But I feel like we could go on forever, but we actually need to leave because I'm teaching a yoga class, which I'm super fired up to do at Rhode Island Power Yoga.
I need to volunteer and check everyone in.
Yeah.
Most important job.
I know. Super hot check-in guy. All the ladies love him. So I think, that was fun.
I think we covered everything. Just check us out online. Everything is Yogi Triathlete, so Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And our website is yogitriathlete.com. And please sign up for our email newsletter, because this is where we're going to connect with everyone and let them know what's going on with our journey. So these podcasts, this is the first of many podcasts.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do them once a week. I think that's pretty good. I think we'll be good with that. But send us your questions, send us your comments. What can we do better? We want to grow this with you, for you. So anything that we can answer online, triathlon, meditation, mindfulness. My specialty is going from bitch to bliss, which is my personal transformation story. So anything, you guys.
Nutrition, yoga.
Yeah, we are open, and we're here to be in service. And thank you so much for tuning in to our first podcast. And don't forget to always ride that high vibe of life.
See you next time.
That was it, the YTP episode 001. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. How can you support us? How can you support the Ride the High Vibe tour? How can you support every single person that we are selling our house, getting rid of everything we own, and quitting our jobs for? How can you support those people? You can start by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please share this podcast with your friends and your family, and let's start creating a collective consciousness of energy behind this tour so that we and you and everyone we come in contact with can start raising the vibe of this nation. Peace out, folks. Until next time.